Okay, so get this. We're diving into the world of, like, super-powered computer chips. You know, the ones driving this whole AI explosion we keep hearing about.
Yeah. Moving crazy fast.
Yeah, and these chips, they're called GPUs, right?
Yeah.
We're going to break down how they work and why they're such a big deal.
Definitely. It's actually pretty fascinating. A lot of people, they hear about AI and they think it's all about, like, smarter algorithms.
But
But
that's the hardware, too, right?
exactly. It's the hardware making it all possible.
So that's where this blog post comes in. Jen-Hsun Huang's vision, transforming AI with GPUs.
Mm.
Okay, so who is this Huang guy? What's his vision all about?
So Jen-Hsun Huang, he's the CEO of NVIDIA.
NVIDIA, that's the big GPU company.
Yeah, they're kind of the leading name in high-performance GPUs. And for a long time now, we've been living in the era of Moore's Law, right?
Oh, Moore's Law, like computers get twice as powerful every 2 years or something.
Basically, yeah. It says the number of transistors on a microchip, it doubles roughly every 2 years. And that's been driving this whole, like, exponential growth of computing power.
Right, our phones are faster, laptops are getting thinner, all that.
Yes.
So where does this Huang guy fit into all of this?
Okay, so Huang, he's put forth this idea, right? It's being called Huang's Law. And it basically says that GPU performance, specifically for AI tasks, it isn't just doubling every 2 years, it's doubling every single year.
Hold on, every year?
Every year.
That's insane. That's like way faster than Moore's Law. So is it just, like, are they just cramming more transistors onto the chips? How's that even work?
So it's not just about cramming, it's more nuanced than that. Transistor density, it's a factor. But Huang's Law, it's really about architectural improvement.
Okay, so like smarter design, not just smaller parts.
Yeah. It's about designing chips specifically for the kind of parallel processing that AI just eats up. GPUs are way better at this than, like, traditional CPUs.
Oh, okay. So explain that. Like, I'm 5. The whole CPU versus GPU thing.
Okay, so imagine a CPU. It's like a general purpose car, right? It can get you around, do a lot of different things. But a GPU, it's like a race car. It's built for speed, handling, but on a specific track. In this case, the track is AI computation.
So it's optimized, it's like purpose-built.
Exactly. It's not just brute force, it's specialized design.
Okay, so that makes sense. But what does this all mean in, like, the real world? What can we do with all this crazy GPU power?
So this is where things get really, really cool. The speed, it translates directly into how quickly we can train AI models.
Okay, and training is like teaching them to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like recognize a cat in a photo or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And the blog, it gave this crazy example just a few years back. Training a complex AI model, it could take like 600 hours of compute time.
600 hours. That's like what? An entire month your computer's just running nonstop?
Yeah, you're looking at like a month of straight computation.
Wow.
But now, thanks to these crazy advancements in GPU tech, that same task, 2 hours.
2 hours. Get out of here.
That's it. 2 hours versus an entire month.
Mind-blowing. It's like everything about AI is just moving at warp speed.
It really is. And to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about here, training GPT-4,
Right.
one of the most advanced language models out there.
Yeah, GPT-4, everyone's talking about that one.
That thing required thousands of NVIDIA GPUs all working together. This isn't sci-fi. This is, like, happening now.
So what you're saying is these rich GPUs, which is what the blog calls them, they're like the unsung heroes of this whole AI revolution.
100%. Their power and this, like, specialized design, they're opening up possibilities that, like, we used to think were impossible.
Okay, so we've established that GPUs are, like, really powerful,
Right.
and they're getting even more powerful, even faster than we thought. But what does that mean for, well, everything else? What are the real-world implications of this AI explosion being driven by GPUs?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And that leads us to, like, some of the broader implications of this whole rich GPU era. What happens when this kind of computing power is everywhere? What does it mean for the economy, for society, even for, like, ethics?
Yeah, it's a big question. It's like opening up this whole Pandora's box, right? But before we get into all that, let's take a closer look at this rich GPU idea and why it's such a big deal. This whole rich GPU thing, it's not just like a catchy phrase or something, is it? It sounds like these chips are becoming like a really hot commodity.
Yeah, like rare earth minerals, something like that.
Yeah.
You're right on the money with that one. The blog post talks about how companies are, like, practically in a race, right, to get their hands on these high-performance GPUs,
Yeah.
especially the ones from NVIDIA.
Well, yeah, because they're the ones, like, driving all this progress, right?
They are. And in a lot of ways, they're about as valuable as like gold or oil at this point.
Wow. So it's like if you have these GPUs, it's like having the fastest car in the race.
Yeah. And everybody wants to be in first place, right? Exactly.
But it's not even just about speed, right? It's about what you can do, about possibilities that we couldn't even, like, imagine before. This is where Huang's vision gets really, really interesting. Every time we get this jump in processing power, new stuff becomes possible, like in medicine, robotics, materials, you name it. Things we thought were, like, decades away.
Or maybe even impossible.
Totally. But with these GPUs, they're within reach now.
That's a good point. It's one thing to say, oh yeah, things are getting faster, but it's another to see how that translates to, like, curing diseases or, I don't know, designing self-healing materials or something.
Exactly, like in drug discovery, right?
Yeah.
Researchers are using AI now to, like, simulate how molecules interact,
Oh, wow.
which could lead to new drugs, new therapies, way faster, way cheaper.
So instead of, like, spending years in the lab testing out a million different compounds,
Yeah, you got it.
they can use AI to narrow it down.
It's like having this super-powered microscope
Oh, wow.
that can analyze and predict, like, at the atomic level.
That's incredible. And that's just one example, right? This tech is also being used for personalized education, to make the power grid more efficient, even to model climate change better than we ever could before.
It's like each new GPU that comes out, it's like a crystal ball
Yeah.
giving us a peek into the future.
And it's happening faster and faster, too.
That's crazy.
And here's the thing. The blog post, it focuses on NVIDIA, right? But there's this whole other world developing around this tech. It's not just them.
Oh, really? So NVIDIA, they're not the only ones in the game.
Not anymore. Other companies are making their own chips, each with their pros and cons, and that competition, it's good. It keeps things moving, keeps any one company from, like, taking over the whole thing.
Right, because competition usually breeds innovation, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Especially with something this big, this important, like AI.
absolutely. Makes you wonder, what's next? What's the future of AI hardware going to look like? Will these silicon chips be around forever?
Or will something totally new come along?
It's a good question. For now, it does feel like the sky's the limit. This blog post, it really shows how fast everything's moving.
Yeah.
But you're right, this is only the beginning. It's kind of wild, right? Like all this stuff with superpowered AI and these chips, it's like we're watching something, I don't know, historic happen.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a really interesting time to be, well, alive, that's for sure. And you know what? This deep dive, we've only just scratched the surface of all this.
Oh, yeah.
There's, like, way more to explore. The nitty-gritty of how these chips are designed, the whole race to make them even more efficient, even the bigger questions, like what is intelligence, all that.
It's almost like we've stumbled into this, I don't know, this hidden jungle or something, and we're just now starting to figure out where the paths are.
That's a great way to put it.
But this blog post, focusing on Huang's law and this whole rich GPU era, it's like it's given us, I don't know, a map or something.
It totally has. It shows just how fast this technology is changing and what it could mean for, well, everything. And that's something I think everyone should try to grasp, even if you're not, like, a tech wizard.
100%. So for everyone listening who maybe just tuned in, let's do a quick recap of what we've learned. We started talking about Huang's law, which says that these GPUs, their power for AI, it's doubling every single year.
Which is nuts.
Totally. Way faster than Moore's law, which is like the old way of looking at how computers get more powerful.
Right. Moore's law is old news now.
So then we talked about how this crazy speed, it means real change. AI training that used to take, like, months
Forever.
can now be done in just a few hours, and that changes everything from medicine to education, even understanding the climate.
Absolutely. Everything's connected.
We also got into this idea of the rich GPU and how, like, having access to these chips, it's everything.
It's the key to the castle.
Yeah. It's not even just about speed anymore. It's about doing stuff we never thought possible.
And doing it faster all the time.
And we can't forget there's competition. NVIDIA is huge, but other companies are coming out with their own chips, their own cool solutions, and that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. It keeps everyone on their toes.
So it's clear we're in this totally new age of technology, all thanks to these crazy powerful GPUs. And the people making them, they're like pioneers pushing the limits of what we thought was possible.
It really is like the Wild West out there, but in a good way.
Totally. So that leaves us with the biggest question of all. What's next? What other amazing breakthroughs are right around the corner? That's something for everyone to think about
Definitely keeps you up at night.
as we all explore this crazy world of AI and the hardware that makes it go. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.